Hello everyone, I'm Brian, welcome back, let's go ahead and continue. Oh, and by the way, real quick, thank you for the person who said the title of a movie called The Man Who Knew Infinity. I checked out the two streaming services that I get for free. Did not have it on there, but there is a few streaming services that have it for free. I'll try to check it out. That looks interesting. It says it's a drama romance. Not much for romances, but I get the drama portion because life is drama. So anyways, I will try to check out that movie, because I am very curious about it.
So now we open the floor to the audience for asking the questions. And first we'll have questions from this side of the floor.
Namaskaram, Sadhguru.
How come you got a better microphone than me, huh?
My name is Azim. I am a first year student pursuing BCom honors. So basically we all know that at this age we get into a relationship, then we broke up. So there was one of my friend recently who broke up, and he was like, he asked me to give him some advice on how to move on and how to cope up with things. So being of the same age, I cannot advise him because I don't know how to move on. So my question is that how to move on after that situation?
Oh my gosh. Relationship advice. Honestly, I don't know. I have to really think about it. All I can say is time tends to heal all wounds now. The best thing to do is to talk about it, I guess. And to talk about it and to keep talking about it. I mean, what I mean by talking about it, I don't mean that you need an answer back. It's just to kind of vent out. You know, you vent out, and if there's anything someone can say about your venting, then let them. But generally, just venting. Hopefully, it's like a slow release, like a pressure cooker. You know, you open up the vent, and it just slowly releases the pressure over time. And you have to sit there and you have to let there and let it vent for a while. You know, there's a lot of pressure in there sometimes. I honestly don't know. Sadhguru, what kind of advice do you have for that?
Well, somebody else has moved on. Even if you stay in the same place, distance will happen. See, let us understand this in terms of life, not in terms of trend, not in terms of morality, not in terms of right and wrong, but in terms of life. When I say in terms of life, Azim, do you remember how your great 10 generations ago, how your grandfather looked like?
No.
No. But his nose is sitting on your face. Yes or no? Yes.
Yes.
So is it true that your body has a tremendous amount of memory?
Yes.
This memory is on many different levels. There is an evolutionary memory, there is genetic memory, there is a karmic memory, there are conscious levels of memory and unconscious levels of memories, articulate and inarticulate levels of memories. But if your great-grandfather's nose has to sit on your face, obviously your body is carrying a very complex mechanism of memory, isn't it?
Yes.
So this body, if it is capable of such a complex sense of memory, you think it is not gathering memory with whatever you touch and feel and relate with? You think so or no?
Yes.
It does. So it is gathering an enormous amount of memory. This is how you know. See, how to go up the steps, how to go down the steps, it looks very simple. But it's not simple, it's very complex. Your body has to remember, otherwise it cannot go up and go down so simply. Well, today the sports people are talking about muscle memory, building memory into their system so that the sport can be executed at a certain level of efficiency. So this is not only for sport, this is not only for specific activity. Every day you are imbibing so much memory And this memory, if there is a certain kind of congruence to this memory, if there's a certain kind of cohesiveness to this memory will become productive. If there is a certain sense of chaos to this memory, if there is a certain level of chaos to this memory, then you may know everything, but this memory will work against you because it's contradictory and conflicting within itself. When you say a relationship and when your friend asks you this question, the question itself is coming because it matters, isn't it?
Yes.
If you didn't matter, you could have just forgotten about it and gone on like old pair of shoes. But it matters because you invested your thought, your emotion and maybe even your body. Once you've invested these three things, there is a profound sense of memory about that. If you create a lot of contradictory memory in your system, you will see life will tell later that you will have everything but you feel like you have nothing because it's confused and it's joyless, it doesn't have exuberance. It's very important young people understand the mechanism of what you have been given. If this was just a lump of flesh, you could have done whatever the hell you want with it, but this is a very sophisticated machine. If you treat it sensitively, it can do things in a phenomenal way, otherwise it'll do mediocre things. Suppose I gave you, let's say you know nothing about computers, I gave you, let's say, Apple Air. Have you seen this model?
Yeah.
Very thin and sharp. I gave you this, but you don't know what it is. You took it home and started chopping cucumbers. It works very well. It works very well. But isn't it a tragedy that you're using a computer to chop cucumber? Nothing wrong with a cucumber, but something definitely wrong with you, isn't it?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Something very fundamentally wrong with you when you do not understand the significance of what you have on your hands. All significant things will go waste. So, before not just other human beings, I'm saying before you touch, involve yourself in anything, you must see what is the level of involvement you wish. You must see where do you want to take this. You must also see what are the different impacts it'll have upon you, whether this will work well for this life or work against this life, you must consider. Otherwise, you will become a loose life. Loose, I'm not using the word loose in terms of morality, I'm just talking about loose in terms of not able to fulfill the direction in which you wish to go in your life. Bringing some integrity to this, intellectual integrity, emotional integrity and physical integrity to your life is very, very important. Well, beyond that, if something goes wrong, you just have to understand when you came alone, when you were born, you came alone, and when you die, you will go alone.
Thank you so much.
I must have missed it. How to get over something. He made a huge explanation. I must have missed it. Huh. I guess just understand that you're born alone and you will die alone, no matter what happens in the middle. So you must make the best of it? Is that what he said? Not sure. I mean, honestly, I can't think of too good of an advice. It's not something that I thought of, honestly. You know, you just, for me, again, it's all about understanding. You know, if the person that you want to be with doesn't want to be with you, then it's not going to work out no matter what. Find someone else that wants to be with you. It's going to be a lot easier, a lot smoother, and you'll be a lot happier. But of course, you want to be with that person too. There's not just this one person that you only want to be with. There's going to be other people. The thing is though is that it's easy to say, oh, just move on. You know, obviously it's not gonna be that easy, but it's gonna take some time. I hear someone in the relationship things on YouTube says like, However long you've been with that person, you need half the time to recover. So if you've been with that person for 2 years, you need 1 year to yourself. I don't know if that's exactly true. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think you do need to kind of think about your relationship. You need to vent it so you don't drag that into your next relationship and ruin that. Now, whether that takes half the time or not, it's all dependent on the person, and also all dependent on the person that you find. The person that you can find could be completely understanding and wanting to help you out and wanting you to get over your ex or something, and it's fully supportive of it, and they could help you move in such a shorter time and make you happier. But again, it's a lot of, what do you call it? A lot of, not I said what ifs, but there's a lot of variables in there. So, yeah, that's all I can really say, honestly.
This girl, she can't live without asking the question, please give it to her.
Namaskaram. I am Shraddha Sadhguru. My question is, I am pursuing science, and when I talk about yoga and doing Shambhavi in my college, people kind of look down upon me, saying, "You are a science student, how can you talk about these things?"
How can you live sensibly?
And so in my first year, I used to feel very bad about it, but then I just left it. Now I have a question as to why there is such resistance in the youth about our own sciences. I mean, Indian sciences have been established by a deep understanding of everything. Why is there a resistance? And is it important that we convert this resistance into acceptance, or at least, tell them not to disregard it without having explored it in its complete sense? And if so, how do we integrate inner sciences into the current education system that is in place? Thank you.
I mean, I get what she's talking about, and it's something that I thought of too. Like religious people in science. How are you a scientist and religious? And I'll put it this way, and what I thought of is like if you're in what I've actually heard religious science people say is that they keep them separate. It's funny because like, oh, I can't prove God exists, but I can prove or disprove things that are objectively true or not. It's kind of a weird thing for me for a scientist to say that they can objectively say something is true or not, for the most part, and then yet have this belief system. It seems contradictory, and that's what I'm sure that she's feeling there, where yoga is more of a faith-based kind of thing. It's looked at upon it, perhaps looked at that way. It's nothing scientific behind it. But I guess for her, I'd say, just tell them that this is how you live your life. It's a way of life. Don't think of it as a religion. I think they're perhaps more accepting of that than saying that it's like religious. A way of life to me is just the way you live your life, and it's something that makes you happy. And you can separate the two. You can do science and do your yoga at the same time. Yoga's, well, it depends on what she follows, but mostly not belief anyway. It's kind of like, you can look at it as like an exercise routine. It's a way of life. Why do you go running every day? I mean, it makes me healthy. Same with yoga. I do it because it keeps my mind sharp, keeps me healthy, and I'm able to control. Well, I don't know if you want to say I'm able to control my emotions or anything like that. I don't know if that's true, but you can say it keeps my mind sharp, keeps me focused, and keeps me focused throughout the entire day. I think that's very, very helpful. I think a lot of scientists will say, I might try that. I think that's about it.
Thank you so much.
Dandapani talks about focus a lot. That's why I kind of figured yoga does that too anyway. Plus also, there's another person who's a white guy. He talks about how, I think it's the white guy, or is it Swami Sarvapriyananda, talks about how your thoughts constantly comes in and kind of interrupts your mind. But if you can find a way to have a balance to where it's not constantly just bad thoughts or negative thoughts or just thoughts that are just disruptive, where you can have a control over your thoughts. To me, it's well. Anyways, I remember him saying that, and yoga can help you with that. Mind you, what specific yoga? That's Sadhguru on that one.
Say unfortunately today, we have a constipated perception of what is science or what is scientific. Essentially, the way the science or the scientific process is defined is, something is considered as a science if there is a systematic approach to it, and the approach should be repeatable, and the approach should work not just for me, should work for many people, then it is considered a science.
I think there's a missing there where the result is always the same. I think also the result cannot be different.
So science is fundamentally physics, but there are other sciences which have evolved out of it. Biological studies are there, psychological studies are there, social sciences are there. So anything which has a systematic approach and is applicable not just to one person but to a larger number of people becomes a science or a scientific approach. In that sense, there is no science which is a larger application except physics. There is no other science, or even physics. There is no other science which is as largely applicable as yogic sciences. It is just that the yoga that people have heard about today is a rebound from the American coast. So they think yoga means wearing Lulu pants and going around. It's a…
Yoga pants. Oh my gosh. I don't know why. I have no idea why that came to be. I think they were called sweatpants? I'm not sure. Sweatpants are usually loose, but I don't know if they're loose on women or not. But I know I used to wear sweatpants because I would still. It's comfortable. It's very clothy. But I don't know if women's sweatpants are loose too. Maybe they are. Maybe there's some tight ones. But yoga pants, I thought they're kind of like… I thought those were like women's sweatpants, but maybe I'm wrong on this one. But I don't know why yoga pants, at least from my understanding, is very, very thin and relatively thin and tight fitting pants. That's cloth or spandex base. I have no idea why they call it yoga pants. Well, just people who go to yoga uses that. Why? I don't know. I guess because it's very flexible, not so loose that it doesn't get tangled up, I guess. Maybe. I don't know. It's just, I find it kind of weird.
kind of a fashion?
Yeah, fashion.
No. Yoga means this. I want you to listen to this carefully because this is not something that you can explore in a casual atmosphere like this. Yoga literally means union. What does union mean? The very body that you carry right now. One day somebody is going to bury you or burn you, smoking or non-smoking, we will do it. Yes or no? Either we do this or that. Will you become part of the earth? Hello? How come now you're not part of it, I'm asking? Even now you're part of it, isn't it? You're just a small outcrop of this earth. Only because you were given the ability to be mobile, you lost your sense. You thought you were a world by yourself. If you were stuck like a tree, I'm sure you would have understood you're part of the earth, isn't it? Just because the planet gave you the freedom to move, how stupid we became. It's not just with body, it is so with the entire universe. It is not just with the physical form, so with every aspect of you. So yoga means union. What it means by saying union is, it is a science of how to obliterate the boundaries of your individuality so that you become a much larger life than what you are right now. Either you can live here as a constipated life. When I say a constipated life, constipation means it happens little by little. That's constipation. Hello? Right now for most people, life is happening little by little. You ask them, what are the great moments in their life? They say, when I passed my examination, I felt great, then I was miserable, then I found a job, I felt great, but then all the people made me miserable. Then I got married, it was really wonderful, then my mother-in-law came and she did it. She didn't come, she was there before your husband. She was there all the time, she was there before you and before your man. But like this it goes on, they will count 5 things where they had great moments in their life. This is a constipated life. That every moment of your life is not an exuberant outburst of life. It is once in a way, something happens to you. Constipated or no? So you must say yes or no. Do you want to live a constipated life? If you have to live an exuberant life, the boundaries of individuality have to go to whatever extent. Only then you capture a larger amount of life and you have a larger experience of life, a higher level of exuberance than what you normally see around you. Have you blown soap bubbles when you were at least young? When you were young? Did you blow… Did you blow soap bubbles? At least when you were children? So you got only this much big bubble, but somebody else got that big bubble. Same soap, but somebody blows this big bubble, yours is only this much. Why do you think? Hello?
Not blowing hard enough.
You also have a lung full of air, you also have soap, but one person gets this big bubble, another person gets this big bubble. Why do you think it happens? Because if you want to expand boundaries, what is important is not the desire. What is important is you need to capture that much air in that limited possibility. Then it becomes this big. Similarly this one. See, my body and your body are different. This is me, that is you. Till we bury, we don't understand, it's all the same earth. But right now, this is my body, that is your body, 100% clear. This is my mind and that's your mind, 100% clear. This can't be that, that can't be this. But there is no such thing as my life and your life. There is just life. How much life you capture determines the scope and scale of your life. Not how much information you capture. How much life you capture will determine the scope and scale of your life. So if this has to happen, you have to breach the concretized boundaries of your individuality and push it. When the boundaries are dissolved, then we say you are in yoga. If one experiences the dissolution, then we refer to that person as a yogi. Well, how far each individual is going to go is subject to various realities. But at least, should you not make an effort, a scientific and focused effort as to how to breach these boundaries of individuality which we ourselves created? Hello? All your boundaries are created by you, isn't it? You create the boundary and you suffer the boundary. What kind of life is that? If nature created the boundary and you're suffering that, that's understandable. You create your own boundary because of self-preservation. In pursuit of self-preservation, you build walls. These walls of self-preservation will become walls of self-imprisonment. If you don't want that, you need yoga. Oh, should I twist, should I turn, should I stand on my head? No, yoga does not mean twisting, turning. You can breathe and do yoga, you can walk and do yoga, you can talk and do yoga, you can read and do yoga, you can sleep and do yoga, you can stand and do yoga, you can do yoga in whichever way. There is no specific activity. It's a certain dimension. What is the dimension? Unfortunately, once it goes to United States, they will reduce it into a specific activity and Lululemon pants you have to wear. Otherwise, no yoga. People keep asking me, even yesterday somebody asked me, Sadhguru, how many hours of yogasanas do you do? I said, 20 seconds. What? Only 20 seconds? Yes. Actually, it's true. I do only 20 seconds of sadhana every day. I wake up in the morning, if I sit up, just 20 seconds, I'm done. Then I don't do yoga rest of the day? No, I live yoga because my entire life is to constantly wipe away the boundaries within myself and within everybody else. This is yoga. What we're doing here is yoga right now.
I will say I like the way he defined life, and I don't think I thought about this before. But whenever he says life, I think previously, I always thought of my life as in the life that is in my body. I mean, you could say, I guess, like consciousness, kind of. But I don't think that's what he meant. Like life as in what's contained in his body, but life as in everything. And the way I kind of recognized that whenever he said it here was the sure fact that this is how much of life you capture. It didn't stick to me before for some odd reason, but it's just so you including other things in life, you and other things in life, and what you do in life is how much life you capture, how big of a life you live. Not exactly the other way I was thinking, which is just you yourself and the little impacts that you have, but more along the lines of just more than just you, but the things in life that you do as well. It's kind of hard, but for some odd reason I didn't think about it like that before. I kind of had a slight understanding of it, but I always thought life as in your individual self, which is true, but it's a little bit different now that whenever he said that again, it made me think about it how I believe how he intended it to be meant to be said, which is you and whatever other things in life that you can incorporate to yourself, as opposed to you and whatever other things that you can affect in life. And I think that's the way I understood it. It's like there's still you and other things, whereas this one is you and including other things as part of you, whereas the original thought is me and other things that I affect. Dang. Oh, here it is. Me and the pencil, how I affect the pencil, but me and the pencil are separate, as opposed to me and the pencil being one. Although obviously the pencil is a little bit different, but how I incorporate other people into my life as opposed to affecting other people and having a separate life. I think that's how I understood it before, but now I understand it to be how you incorporate other people into your life.
We'll be taking 2 more questions.
So hello sir, myself Shudipto Das. So I saw one of your videos on what a 20-year-old should do in life. There you asked us to take a few days off, uninfluenced by anybody, and think what is needed the most for the universe. But also you added to keep aside the compulsions, to keep aside the things that are coming due to our immediate compulsions. So suppose my immediate compulsions are food, shelter, and
Water.
like to get self-sufficiency. So how do I keep them aside and do something as important as say gender equality?
I don't think you can set things that you need to live aside. I think he's probably like, I'm making a guess here because I want to know if I'm right, to see if I understand Sadhguru. It's more along the lines of things that don't need to be survival, things that are not survival that you can set aside. Not survival things, obviously. Food, water, and shelter. Those are the survival things. Those things you can't really set aside. You need those things to live so that you can impact life.
Oh, what is that? What do you do about gender equality? If you don't do anything, the girls will prove they're equal.
No, I feel that there should be gender equality, and in this stage of the world, such situation is not present.
No, what I'm saying is, you don't have to do anything about gender equality. If you don't mess with the girls, they will prove they're equal. Unfortunately, many times they will prove they're little more than you. No, I don't know how these two things are linked, but you're talking about what I said, that before you take major steps in your life, you must move to a place where you're not influenced by your peers, by your elders, by your parents, by your teachers. Spend some time upon yourself. What is it that I want to do with this life? This life. Do not understand life as job, food, profession, this, that nonsense. This is life, isn't it? Hello? You are mistaking the accessories of life as life, unfortunately. Today if people say, my life, we are supposed to understand they're talking about their car, they're talking about their home, they're talking about their wife or husband, they're talking about their dog. No, this is life. These are all accessories of life. Once the accessories of life become more significant than life itself, oh, you are finished, okay? Whatever you do, you'll be messed. So I said withdraw from all the influences that you have, spend at least a few days upon… if you think you're a worthwhile life. If you think you're a worthwhile life, it deserves attention, isn't it? This life deserves attention. You spend a few days looking at, if all these people who are not there telling you 1,000 things as to what you should do, what is it that you really want to do?
The one thing I want to get at is this deserves attention. This life deserves attention. I don't think Sadhguru is talking about you need to go out there and says, you need to give me attention, you need to give me attention, you need to give me attention. It's more like you need to give your life attention. I just want to clarify that because I think most people hopefully will understand it in the fact that you need to give your life attention, not other people. Because in the social medias, they're wanting other people's attention for their life. You can see a lot of people that says, oh, give me a thumbs up down below, you know, thumbs up and subscribe, thumbs up, you know, that's a way of validation in life, like thumbs up, you know, down below and subscribe. But they look for that, you know, they're looking for the likes, the hearts, I guess, I don't know, you know, TikTok and Instagram, and I don't know, I don't use any of that other stuff, but they look for that for validation, and they use that as a way of acknowledging their life. If they don't get that, they don't see their life as valuable, and it's the wrong way of looking at it.
You must look at it, isn't it? People come to me and tell me, they've been married for 35 years. Sadhguru, I knew I made a mistake with this marriage. Then I ask, is it really? Then how did you get these 3 children? Marriage was a mistake, you could have stopped right there. How did 3 children happen? No, Sadhguru, you know, I know how that happens. But then how did you build this big house, this nonsense and all the things you're beginning to suffer now, unfortunately. You're not enjoying them, you're suffering them. So how did you do all this? No, Sadhguru, you know, mistake, 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 mistake. Why you're a serial mistake? Because you don't stop and look, what is it that this real life really cares for beyond social pressures, beyond teachings? beyond all kinds of diktats that come from everywhere, what is it that this life wants? Every human being must look at it. Every human being must look at it. It's everybody's right to look at it, beyond all the pressures.
Someone please, that's it. This will be the last question for the day.
Namaskaram Sadhguru. I'm Lavanya. I'm studying economics honors first year. I'm from Hyderabad. Despite being surrounded by so many people, we still lack that feeling of belonging to somebody, being accepted by somebody, being loved by somebody. How should we deal with that discontent and loneliness?
Okay. For me, I mean, to understand is the fact that this is all desires, wanting. Don't get me wrong, we as humans are social animals, and we do need to interact with people. I think it can become a big problem if this becomes something that overtakes your mind, something that becomes priority, because then you start accepting anything as a partner. Even though they're bad, you'll still accept them just because you're so lonely, which is a very, very, very bad thing. Discontent, I mean, it's kind of, all I'm gonna say is yoga, but that's not a really good answer. I mean, it's a good answer, but it's kind of like it's like an answer for everything. Oh, you got a problem? You know, Advaita Vedanta, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga. You know, Raja Yoga. That's the meditation part. Obviously doing those things, but you kind of have to kind of lead them in that direction too, because it's not so simple. You know, you getting into these things, it's going to take some time. But I guess so are the solutions. Other solutions, should I say. Well, temporary solutions, I suppose. Find good company. People in your classroom, people in your surroundings. Have a hobby. That's a good one. If you have a hobby, try to find if there's a local place that does that hobby or whatever. If you know, whatever hobby it may be, if there's a local area, go over there and try to start talking to people. I mean, and if you're shy, don't worry, just still go and then just kind of observe. People will start talking to you. I mean, at least it does over here. That's how I kind of got into my hobby group. I just went and I just showed up, and then we just started talking, like we knew each other for the most part.
ఏమండి హైదరాబాద్ నుంచి వచ్చి say you must understand this. Right now in these 2 hours, we were speaking two different tongues. On one level, many questions are aimed towards, how can I be free from this and that? Another level, you are asking, how can I bind myself to something or somebody? You must decide. What is the highest value in your life, freedom or bondage? Please, I would like to hear that word. Oh, freedom! But if you are free, you feel lost. If you go into the mountains and you're totally free, that is, nobody around, nothing around, you just in the empty space of the mountains, you don't feel free, you think you're lost. So to handle freedom, it needs a certain clarity and strength. Most people cannot handle freedom. They are always trying to bind themselves, but only talking, mouthing freedom all the time. If you really set them free, they will suffer immensely. So this is an evolutionary issue, in the sense, human beings are right now like this. A caged bird, if you keep a bird caged for a long period of time and then one day you took off the door of the cage, still the bird won't fly. From inside it'll protest that it's not free, but it'll not fly. Human condition is just that. For all other creatures, nature has drawn two lines within which they have to live and die, and that's what they do. But only for human beings, there's only bottom line, there's no top line, and that's what they're suffering. If their life was also fixed like every other creature's life, they wouldn't be stressed, they wouldn't be anxious, they wouldn't be struggling how to handle their own intelligence. And that is what you're seeking unknowingly. You may seek it in the form of relationships, you may seek it in the form of profession, you may seek it in the form of nationality, ethnicity, community, God, heaven, hell. All you're trying to do is draw an artificial line which does not exist. Because freedom needs courage. Freedom needs a certain madness. If you're very sane, you cannot be free because you will go between the two lines of logic. To be free, it takes a lot of strength. That if you… First of all, what needs to happen if you want to be free is, do you understand that all human experience has a chemical basis to it? Hello? What you call as joy is one kind of chemistry, misery is another kind of chemistry, stress is one kind of chemistry, anxiety another kind of chemistry, agony one kind of chemistry, ecstasy another kind of chemistry. At least ecstasy, you know it's another kind of chemistry. I hear. So, your experience of life has a chemical basis to it. This is the most superficial way of looking at it. There are other dimensions to it, but for your understanding. Or in other words, what you call as myself right now, you're a chemical soup. The question is only, are you a great soup or a lousy soup? Yes or no? Right now, if you have a chemistry of blissfulness, if you close your eyes, it's fantastic, if you open your eyes, it's fantastic, if somebody is here, it's fantastic, nobody is here, it's very fantastic. Yes or no? But you have a lousy chemistry. If you look at them, if they smile at you, it's nice, not fantastic. If they look at you like this, suddenly it's a problem. If these people are happening just the way you want, your chemistry is reasonably balanced. If they do something that you don't like, boom, it goes somewhere else. So essentially, you have not looked at this mechanism. What is the basis of this, how it functions, how I can make it function at its highest level. Right now, let's say you really blissed out like me. Do you care who is around, who is not around? If they're around, it's fantastic. They're gone, fantastic. Because your experience of life is no more determined by what you have and what you don't have, whether it's people or things or food or this or that, it is not determined by that. Once your way of being is not determined by anything outside of you, then there is no such thing as loneliness. But you will enjoy your aloneness because whether you like it or you don't like it, at this young age, it's a little difficult to understand this, whether you like it or you don't like it, within this body you're always alone, isn't it? Whether you do interaction or intercourse or whatever, still you're alone in this body, yes or no? Hello? If you don't learn how to handle this aloneness, you have not learned anything about life. This is the most beautiful thing. The most beautiful thing about life is, nobody can get here, it's just my space. Yes or no? Isn't this the most beautiful thing? Nobody can invade me. They can capture me, they can torture me, they can do so many things, but they cannot invade me because I have a space which is just my own. Isn't this the most wonderful aspect of your life? Don't suffer that. That is the most beautiful thing. Oh, but you want to pine little romantically and enjoy that, what? What are those songs, popular songs? Pining for somebody. Without you, I cannot exist.
Most of the songs are that way now.
Sing one song, older ones, older
I'm
ones.
horrible at singing.
Huh?
I'm horrible at singing.
Just tell me the words, I will sing it.
हम तेरे बिना रह नहीं सकते, तेरे बिना क्या वजूद मेरा.
You saying it to me? Okay, I got it.
Sri Ram is a singer.
Sri Ram, that song, what is saying?
हम तेरे बिन अब रह नहीं सकते, तेरे बिना क्या वजूद मेरा.
See, all the boys must learn songs like this, otherwise you can't floor the girls. But the girls should understand the guy has a need and he's doing this, it's not really true, but let's enjoy the game right now. Because what we do is just a certain… it's a certain game, life is, because it comes to an end. But the important thing is, how are you within yourself? If you are here in such a way that you are only driven by your needs, you will live a very meager life. But if you can sit here without any need, but you will do whatever is needed, then you will live a magnificent life. It's my wish and my blessing. Every one of you must have a fantastic life. Make it happen for yourself.
I had something to say. I can't remember it though. Hold on, I'll pause real quick. Hopefully, and I'll go back through it and hopefully I'll remember. Okay, that was a really quick pause. I actually remember whenever I put to this. So we as humans, we want freedom and all that, but we cannot handle the freedom, which is, I do agree with Sadhguru with that. We think we want freedom, but in a lot of sense we also like restrictions. Because restrictions is order, freedom is chaos, to a certain degree. Why is it chaos? Because there's no rules, there's no boundaries, there's no laws. And why is order? You could say that order is tyrannical because there's laws, boundaries. You can't do what you want. You have to obey the laws. Obviously, we don't one or the other. We want a balance. We want some restrictions with freedom. Because complete freedom is chaos. It's chaos. Can be chaos. And complete order can be dictatorial. It can be very restrictive. So it's always a balance. When people say they want freedom, well, it's different, I guess, per individual. But generally speaking, freedom is having enough freedom to do what they want, but not to the point of where they can harm other people. I think that's kind of the freedom that people really want. But I will say this though, whenever Sadhguru talks about how people say, yeah, I want freedom, and all of a sudden when they get freedom, it's like, I don't really like this. Because you're responsible for yourself at that point. And also, and what I mean by that is that, you know, if there's other people that come at you, you have to defend yourself. Because no one's going to protect you. I think that's about it. That was the thing that I wanted to say, because he was talking about the bird and the cage and how we all kind of get accustomed to this life, this life of safety, because, you know, we kind of have this, how do you say, we tamed nature. Now we don't have to worry about the 3: food, water, and shelter so much that we become more free, but yet somehow are less satisfied. It's really weird. It's really, really weird. this is not what he's talking about, but I just find it kind of weird. Like, I look at America as an example and where I come from. American people have so much freedom and so much possibilities and so many opportunities, and they're not resentful, but not appreciative of it for the most part. Some parts, I think it's becoming most parts. Like, I think this entitlement, lack of appreciation is growing. You can kind of see it in the populace. And they think they're so oppressed when they have no idea what oppression is. Just because something didn't happen the way they wanted it, they are severely oppressed. Just because they can exercise a power over someone else, they feel that they're oppressed. It's really kind of sad. Way off topic, so I'm going to end it right here. So that's the end of Sadhguru at SRCC, New Delhi. If you like my content, please consider subscribing, thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.